See, my aunt was married twice. Her first husband was only married a couple of years, and he died, and then later she got married to Uncle Eli, and she had one son by her first husband, and then one son by her second husband. Her first son had an aunt that lived in Malone, and he went right down there, and he stayed right with her, and he went through high school down there.
Wow.
So he was teaching me, at home afterwards, before I ever started school. So that was a bad thing that happened to me when I started school, because I went to school them days, the teacher would knock you upside the head if she felt like it, And so when I started school, she brings me down this first day with a nice big piece of paper with all the alphabet on the front of it. And she says, Malcolm, Palmer method now. I want you to do all these letters and fill that paper up for me. I will do that. She said, what? No, I don't have to do that. I said, I know that. But she says, I want to see if you do. I said, I'm not going to do that. Jesus, she hauled off and gave me a backhander and knocked me right clean out of my seat. But I climbed back into my seat, and she just looked me right in the face like that. She says, will you do it now? I said, yes, ma'am.
And you did it.
There should be a little bit of that stuff today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, kids today's, really don't have the teachers can't say anything or do anything to them or they get in trouble, So, Malcolm, when, did you have to enlist into the service? Was it like you were drafted, or?
Well, I'll get back to that now.
Okay.
My aunt's second son went down to New York, and he was working down there, and because my uncle worked on the railroad, I had a railroad pass, and I used to run back and forth down to New York every once in a while, especially the holidays. And I got down there, and did I meet a nice lady down there, which got very interesting. And so I wanted to be down there. So while I was down there, I had to go to work. So I worked gas stations and service stations and so forth, and my mechanic in the garage. And eventually a friend down there says to me, he says, Malcolm, he says, could you think you could do cabinets? Is refinishing? I said, sure. Well, geez, I got hired up to Singer's Home Machine Company, refinishing cabinets. Well, then I got big money. I got $20 a week.
Holy moly. Times have changed, haven't they?
and I'm living in a furnished room. It cost me $5 a week,
So you're living like a king.
$1 a day to eat.
Yeah.
Well, I had plenty. I could get by,
Now you couldn't, $20 wouldn't last you 5 minutes at the store, right?
All of a sudden, Hogan, the manager there, comes to me one day and he says, Malcolm, he says, at noon, he says, go home, because I should shellac and whatnot on me. He didn't change your clothes, just because it was a decent clothes on, I got another job for you. Well, he gave me a job, salesman and collector. Now I get my $20 a week plus a 10% commission on all collections and sales. Oh, I'm making money, 40, 50, I went up to $100 in 1 week.
Wow.
So I says to Mary, I said, well, and now we can get ourselves an apartment and get married, We had it all planned. So, but due to the fact that anytime I got disgusted with my landlord, I tell him to kiss my butt and I go get another one,
Yep.
And so I had my mail always coming to Mary's house. So this one night I go down, I seem to get there at supper time all the time,
Perfect.
She hands me my this letter, and it says, greetings from the President of the United States. You are under 25 years old. You must do 1 year's military training.
Wow.
I said to Mary, I said, well, I said, is that something that? I said, well, I'll do that first, I said, before we get married, So I wound up in 40th and Allen, Vermont. I don't remember, I think it was
Fort Heath?
April of 41, I think it was.
April of 41?
Around there.
How old were you then, Malcolm? Wow, cool.
This was what my work was afterwards. I became a police officer.
After you got out of the service, Malcolm?
Yeah. And, that's just telling you about my work there. That was when I went in there and looked that all down.
Wow. This is your enlistment record report. That's insane that you kept this all those years, Malcolm. Awesome. Brooklyn, New York, eh? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So, anyhow, I was sent up to Ethan Allen there in Vermont. I was in the artillery up there.
This is 1941, huh?
So we had, well, just driving the truck around, taking training, doing that. They didn't think nothing of going down in the woods down there. Had a big hole, and they take a truck and they go down there and they dump it full of water. And they make us take our truck down there and drive it through there. That was the, he was the provost marshal there in Watervliet Arsenal where I was working. And so we got our trucks and we go down through that mud hole. Chair showed us what those trucks should do. I drive one of those big 6x6s, you know. And after we get it all nice and muddy and run around through the woods down there and come back up, and then the sergeant say, well, boys, now you got to clean it up. And you even had to get underneath that truck and polish it underneath. There was no mud on it, no place, or you had to do it over.
So you knew what you were in for when you got back.
And, after that, we went down to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, on maneuvers. And when we got back from Fort Bragg, I happened to be on Friday, see, December 5th, I think it was. And everybody that was 25 and over was going to be discharged, but I'm only 24. I won't be 25 till the next July.
Oh, goodness.
So all the boys when we got home that Saturday run up to turned all their clothes in and everything. They were all going to be home. I could go leave it next Monday. And they getting rid of everything they had. But I don't have to tell you what happened on Sunday morning there, December 7th.
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor. All the boys was back in the service again. So to make a long story short there, just shortly after that, we coming in and all walked over the bulletin board and rigged it. It says, we are entitled to furnish 25 men to make up a new outfit. My name was not on it, but there was a boy there by the name of O'Neill. He was right from Plattsburgh, and his father had a big farm over there, and he used to go over there and help his father on the weekends. And geez, he said, I hate to go now. And if there's a lot of work to be done over there on the farm, I said, well, hell, forget it. I said, hell, I'll take your place, you know, just make up a new unit. Hell, if I've got another artillery unit, I figured being made up. So, sure enough, I wound up over in Fort Dix, New Jersey. But instead of being a regular artillery unit, it was a tank destroyer outfit. Of course, they're making up tank destroyers, and they needed artillery men to do that.
Right.
So I went over. When I went overseas, that was probably probably about April, somewhere around there, March or April, and went down through the Panama Canal.
Wow.
All across the Pacific, go to Australia. 42 days.
On a ship.
On a
To
ship.
get to Australia. Wow.
And so we got over there, and we wasn't very long there. We had these 37mm tank guns, and I would pull drive a Jeep with one of them behind me. And it didn't take very long to find out that that was no good up in the jungles. And they didn't need them. So they broke that outfit all up, and I wound up in the infantry.
Oh boy. You went right to the mess.
Well, there was 2 divisions that was sent to Australia at that particular time because the Japs had taken over New Guinea, and they were bombing Australia. And Australia had no troops whatsoever. Their troops was all over in Africa, fighting with the British, you know. So they sent 2 divisions of us over there, the 32nd and the 41st. Well, they committed the 32nd first. They made the first landing into New Guinea, and then we came in and reserved behind them.
You were the 41st.
But the 32nd chased the Japs over the old Stanley Range there, and they had about 85% casualty.
So almost all of them lost their life pretty much.
They're not all killed, of course.
Right.
But they were out of business, of course. And but over to Buna, New Guinea. Well, then they had us. Well, we were right there where the initial landing was, but then they could fly over the old Stanley Range and bring the boys over there. But I was left behind to bring in supplies, but we couldn't fly over the old Stanley because they had to go up too high and had to have oxygen. You know, C-47, you got to stay down low enough where you had the
oxygen, enough oxygen. Wow.
So we had to fly through this valley to get over there. So we got over to Buna, and here there was Americans and Australian troops getting on the plane flying back, and we were taking over. So from Buna on, I found out what it was to be a machine gun operator, one of those water coolers. I got under one of them because I happened to be good with guns, so I wound up on the goddamn gun right away. And I made another. We needed the landing up in Hollandia, New Guinea, and of course we landed at a Higgins-boat there. You know, we just got off the ship, went down the rope ladder down into the boat, and
took you across.
Landing there, and we took over the place there. And of course, that was the Japs had a beautiful airstrip there. So that was why we took that. But MacArthur made a wonderful move there. He made it look like we was going to land up farther. And all their fighting troops left there. All they had was just their Air Corps troops there, you know, for us to be engaged with.
Right.
And the only big trouble we had with that was the sons of bitches turned their AK guns on us. And I had this one little article I have to tell you, this Leroy. At that time I had been made sergeant. And so sergeant was one of my gunners. And you could always get a laugh out of him some way or other. Boy, they were popping it right to us, them dad's shrapnel flying all around us, you know, busting them shells right over our heads, you know. And so every time one of them shells would bust, we're laying on the ground, or held on the back of our head, you know, the old Porky there, he'd crawl a little bit closer to get, actually, by the time we got to some artillery in there and knocked them guns out, he'd completely crawl underneath me. So
you were a human shield for him.
So after it's all over, I says, boy, I said, you're one hell of a soldier. I said, you need a sergeant for a shield. He says, what the hell good is a soldier and a sergeant if he can't take care of his men, you know?
That's a great answer, right?
So we were there for a while, and then from there we put on a boat again, and we went up and we made a landing on Blyak Island. That's right, just north of New Guinea, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we landed there because that was another airstrip, and it was a good one. Because from there, the Air Force could use the fighter planes to escort bombers into the Philippines and be able to make it back
Make it back and forth without running out of gas.
Without running out of gas.
Yeah.